right. The title's only 3 words.
Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Bob.
I'm Spencer.
And I'm back.
And this is the Board Game Rundown, and today we're going to do a review of Harry Potter.
Or an unmasking.
Unmask the Death Eaters. So in Harry Potter, Unmask the Death Eaters.
Unmath the desk eaters.
We'll get it in post. We'll get it in post.
You messed me up with the unmasking. This game plays, what is it, 3 to 6? No, 4 to 8.
4 to 8.
That was close.
That was.
With 3 to 6.
It was close.
Not at all. And what is going to happen is that there is going to be, you're going to build this deck, a loyalty deck, and depending on player count, there's going to be so many loyalty cards and then 1 or 2 Death Eater cards. Everybody's going to get them all shuffled up. You're going to get one. Now, here's the thing is you actually build 2 loyalty decks because at a certain point during the game, you're going to then hand out another set of loyalty cards. And if you get a Death Eater card, you have to keep it. Otherwise, if you're already Order of the Phoenix, you get an Order of the Phoenix card, you could just kind of shuffle them discreetly so nobody knows that you just discarded the card you just got. So this does mean that the Death Eater could also get the Death Eater card. So maybe there's only 1 Death Eater, but maybe there's 2. And yeah. And so what we're trying to do is by the end of the game, pick somebody that we trust and have them submit a name or 2 to the Ministry of Magical Defense, I believe. And if they get all of the Death Eaters turned in, good guys win.
Perfect victory.
If even 1 Death Eater escapes, all Death Eaters win.
Yeah.
And all good guys lose. So how do we do this, you ask? Well, that's a great question. What we're going to do first is everybody's going to take turns picking a role, like I don't know, faction we represent.
Yeah.
And we have to do this in a way that it is evenly distributed. So there's 2 of each card. So once somebody takes one, you have to take one that hasn't
been picked yet.
Picked yet, or it still has the most cards.
Correct.
Is the way they word it in the book, which makes sense. Go around. Once we've done all that, we've got our loyalty cards. You're going to get a hand of 5 cards. And these cards are all sorts of different things. They're going to add dice. They could be curses. They could be specific items. Essence of Dittany, Butterbeer, Dittany. And then there's some curses and stuff. Because what's going to happen is a event or an encounter is going to get revealed. It's going to tell you how many players you must take and usually 1 or 2 factions that you must take, and also potentially the number of people from those factions that you must take with you. So, and then there's going to be something like reveal all cards. Maybe you need to have butterbeer in your hand. Maybe you need to have a crystal ball, something like that. But the thing is everybody that you pick to go with you is going to look at their 5 cards from their hand. They're going to submit one to a pile. They're going to get shuffled. The active player is going to look at their hand. If they have any curses, they must do the curse first. Usually the curse is meet these requirements or Death Eaters win. There is one, I believe, that we saw that was just
Avada-Kedavra.
Yeah, which I think Spencer played because I know I didn't play it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't play any curses despite being a Death Eater.
Really?
None.
Not at
Not
all.
a one.
Yeah, I didn't throw all the curses. I don't know who else was throwing curses.
I never threw a curse.
Just the one that I admitted to because I could appease it.
Oh, sure. So there is some strategy with this, right? Mm-hmm. And then in the rule book, there are sort of different levels of table talk that you can choose to use. You could go with no talking. Everybody just has to just say, okay. You could say,
don't take me, but you can't talk about what cards you
You can say, I can help. I can't help. You know, things like that.
That's the minimal level.
That's the minimum.
The second level. Middle level.
So anyways, what's going to happen is if you meet that requirement, awesome, great, grand, then you're going to draw one of the tokens. They have 1s or 2s in the first round. You're going to draw from the 1 stack. You might encounter a giant or Dementors, and then there's dice you need to roll. So then everybody that went with you is then going to submit cards, which are going to give you a certain amount of dice, and you're going to roll them and see if you can beat the thing. If you do, great, you get the spot on the board. If not, the token gets discarded, put back face down into the draw pile. Mm-hmm. Because what we're trying to do, if you're Order of the Phoenix, you want to advance this bottom track here and get to the end without the snake track moving up here too much. Because at the end of the game, somebody will have a Revelio spell. And if we're in this part of the encounter board here, you will get to look at 2 people's loyalty cards. Well, whoever has that spell. Mm-hmm. they're going to get to look at 2 people. Over here in this section, they get to just look at 1. And if the Death Eaters get it all the way to the end, the person with the Revelio spell gets to look at 0. So they're trying to make judgment just based on like the way the hands are played out. So anyways, we're going to go around. The Order of the Phoenix is going to be trying to fill up this bottom part. The Death Eater is going to be trying to move the top part. Once we have met one of these, either the token has gotten to here or we get to the moment of truth, we then will elect somebody to be the active player. And what the active player is going to do, if elected, is then submit 1 or 2 names to the Ministry of Defense to then have the Death Eaters hauled off. And then we do the big reveal and see if they were right.
If they're right or not.
Yeah. So that's basically the game in a nutshell. Did I miss anything major?
Nothing major.
No.
Nothing major. These
Nothing
house
major.
cards do have like asymmetric powers, so it gives you like an ability that either affects the dice for when you're doing this encounter side here, or an ability that
Affects the cards.
And one interesting thing that you can do with the cards is once you look at them and you resolve the curses, you can choose to discard a card face down and then top deck a card at it. Still shuffling before you reveal so that nobody knows what
Which
card
card
was
is
top
which.
decked in.
Yeah.
And added to it. And if you draw a curse, well, that's just the way it happens. And you got to do that curse. But that's basically the game. It's pretty straightforward. We have played games similar to this. I'm
Yes.
sure everybody will hear about as we get into our thoughts on the game. But so that made for an easy teach. But yeah, this is the Harry Potter version, and it is unique enough, I think. So Spencer,
Yeah.
what do you think of Harry Potter Unmask the Death Eaters? I really want to make sure I said that right.
And it's a social deduction game, and if you like social deduction games, you'll probably like this one. I particularly like that it tells you have to have certain people, certain factions, and in smaller play accounts, there might only be one person who is that faction, and in that case, if that person's the Death Eater, you don't have a choice. You got to bring him along, and you might, of course, be wrong if he's a Death Eater. But I like that it forces you to do that, so you don't just single one person out and keep them from playing. Yeah, I like the interesting thing of rolling the dice, having the second encounter basically after an encounter, having to
Right.
fight something, but only if you win the first encounter.
Right. Yeah, you have to
past the
complete
encounter.
this encounter to then get to do the bottom one. And if
That's
you
what the
fail on
token-
either, then the snake track moves.
Now, I'm not certain about the 4-player. We didn't do 4-player, but in 4-player, do you still do the Revelio ×2? Because that would just break the game.
I would imagine you would,
I think so.
but
I didn't read anything different.
Just play better.
yeah.
But other than that, I mean, it's a social deduction game. The art was fine. I mean, I wish that there was a little more variety in the cards. Throughout the entire game, I think I got 3 cards that weren't a +1 dice.
Oh, okay.
And they were curses.
Well,
Yeah.
you were only one of the curses, though.
Yeah. But other than that, yeah, I enjoyed it.
All right, Dan.
Hi, I am not the resident Harry Potter fan. We will hear from that later. But I am a huge social deduction fan. And this is going to do a lot that those other games that you might have played do, but in a nice, small, assumably affordable package. So if you know BSG or Unfathomable, or especially if you know The Thing from the same company, it's going to feel like that. And so we all attest here, The Thing is a good game. They take the basic gameplay from The Thing, but they don't give you a big board, which can lower the price and stuff like that. They shrink it down to this. And also, it makes more sense to have a board in The Thing with all the different location stuff. And this, it would have felt pasted on, just be like, oh, you're in the library. It's like, it just doesn't matter. You're just hunting Death Eaters, right? So to shrink that down, but have the very similar thing, we're all, okay, I need to take you, I'll take you and you. We turn our cards and we shuffle. Oh, there's a curse. Like, a lot of games do that nowadays. It's a very popular way to do social deduction, and I think this one does do it very well. Also, if you like Harry Potter, I think this is a fun Harry Potter game. IP games don't always go over very well, and while this theme is not like engraved in the soul of this game, it's probably not the best Harry Potter game you could ever buy, right? Like theme-wise. It's absolutely there. It's fun. I was a Hogwarts alumni, and you have your wands. I had Emma Watson's wand.
On purpose.
It was on purpose, but Emma I'm just kidding.
Hermione.
But it was
Don't sue us.
Bob's like, it's Hermione.
We'll get to the Harry Potter fan.
But yeah, no, it was a very fun game. The asymmetric little thingies over there, asymmetric, I guess there's two, right? But those little thingies are interesting. I know that, like, again, the op made the thing, right? So yeah, it's kind of like having the flamethrower at the end of the thing. But the way they tried to tie that into the theme here and how it works all here, it all is very intuitive. It works. It was a fun game. We played 5 players, or 6 players, I mean, sorry. So 2 of them aren't in this video. They both seemingly enjoyed the game, you know? So mostly positives coming from here from us. So yeah, I like playing social deduction games. That was fun.
Bobby.
Yeah, so I'm the Harry Potter fan.
What?
Shocker.
You knew whose wands were everybody.
Hey, let's calm down. Not all of them, just some. But no, like I enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm not a huge social deduction fan. That's pretty well known by now. But this was enjoyable because I feel like the thing is a bit too much. Like I feel like for what it is, it takes too long with the board and it's too much. And this kind of streamlines it a little bit. Typically though, like when it comes to the mixing games up, I do feel that like Unfathomable has the chaos thing where you're literally just drawing 3 cards from a deck and just randomly adding them in, and I really enjoy that chaos feeling of that. But this does, you do get to put the cards in there secretly. You do get to mix them up, so you're not sure who's putting in what. And if you choose a level of table talk that doesn't say like, well, I put this specific card, that specific card, it makes it a little easier, I think, for like the Death Eaters to kind of like muddle in and get their cards in there and not have it be too difficult. I'm not a big fan of the square corners on the cards.
I hate that.
Yeah,
True.
they're going to get dinged up quite a bit. They definitely would need to be sleeved if you're going to be playing
Especially
this.
loyalty cards.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yes.
really important that they all look the same.
Exactly. So that's, a ding for me on that because I don't know why any cards are made with square corners anymore. I just don't.
Right.
Why is that
Agreed.
still a thing?
Agreed.
They do have a nice reference card, so you don't need the book. Once you kind of read the specifics on how some of the things go, the reference card breaks down the turn flow very easily. So that is handy. Yes, the Revelio plays a lot like the Flamethrower does, where you get to peek at the agenda cards. And then the Expelloramus, nobody ended up getting that. But that basically is like the rope, and they basically get to keep somebody from participating. Like we were pretty sus of Spencer right off the bat. So
Which it wasn't off the bat. It's just normal. You always suspect
basically,
me.
if he was going to be like the leader, we could kind of be like, let's leave him out of this one because we're getting close to not being able to look at anybody's card. So you can kind of keep them out of there. The 2-sided wand, that kind of indicates, whose active player would have their wand face up, so you know who the active player is. I do like the asymmetrical abilities that they have. The cards were fine. There wasn't a whole lot of variety in them, like that was being said. Like there's 0 to 3 on the dice ranges, and then there was a lot of repeats. But the cards make you, you're going to Hogsmeade. You want to find the butterbeer. So, it's thematically plays along, and you want to make sure that there are enough of the those cards in there so that you can successfully complete some of those. But it would have been kind of nice to have like actual players like, I'm Harry or I'm Ron, and they've got like another like special like asymmetrical ability that they could add in each time besides just the generic
Listen, they only had access
alumni.
to so many of the rights.
Yeah, that's true. That's a little extra bump on
I don't know
the IP cost on that. I'm not sure. I think once you have access to it, you would be able to get full access.
Maybe.
Or maybe you have to throw Daniel Radcliffe his little bit when you use his
Right.
his
Well,
image.
they just wouldn't use Daniel Radcliffe. They would use
a different
Raniel
person.
Dadcliffe.
Yes, that's right. Yes, but it was fun. I did enjoy playing it. We had a good time. There was a lot of laughing and pointing and accusations being thrown, so that's always a good time.
Yeah, so like games like this are 1,000,000% group dependent. We played terrible social deduction games, but we can have a good time because everybody is just there to have a good time.
Right.
Got it. Tim thinks this is a terrible social deduction.
I think that I think like I love the thing we talk about a lot, and that's because there's this mechanic here that this game uses for its full engine that drives the whole thing is one of the most fun parts of games like The Thing or even Dead of Winter and Unfathomable, Battlestar Galactica, things like that. So this really kind of boils all that down and puts a nice Harry Potter theme on it that works and makes sense. Doesn't feel pasted on, I don't think. But yeah, I mean, it takes all those things, basically takes and kind of refines it and does this simplified version, right? You've got the essence of those games here, Harry Potter themed. I feel like for the fans of Harry Potter, I think you will enjoy this because social deduction games are fun party games. And again, with the right group, like I said, we were loud, we were raucous. Like Bob doesn't even love social deduction games. He's laughing and having a good time. You know, so
There's actually a game here to play.
yeah,
Besides-
yeah, and I like asymmetric player powers. I think that's really cool. I do miss the chaos deck, but I do like the top deck.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna get rid of a card because there was when I was the leader, the active player, I got rid of like high value cards that were helpful to try to draw worse cards.
Typical Death Eater.
And you know, so that was a way I could try to tank the thing
Sure.
without being obvious and playing
Obvious
curses.
about it, right.
Because I was like, I'm not playing any curses. I'm just gonna see what happens. And for whatever reason, everybody just suspected me from the start, Dan.
No, I actually didn't. And then it
No, you
just
suspected me from the
slowly
start.
became more obvious.
But no, I mean, I think that your mileage may vary with this style of game depending on the group. But if you like social deduction, or you and you're trying to get your friends to play, and they're kind of worried about it, but you know they like Harry Potter, I mean, this is the way. This is the way in.
It can get them in, yeah.
This is the way in. I absolutely loathe the
Square
corners because, like Bob said, this is a game where you need the cards to not be marked and not show what they are, because the
Gives it
whole
away.
idea is you're
Yeah.
secretly contributing. Your loyalty is secret. Now, thankfully, you don't handle the loyalty cards too much, but it just
Right.
takes one person to bend a
Yep.
corner
Yep.
to ruin that
Like,
card.
oh, that's that bent corner Death Eater card. We know what you are.
Yeah.
And I think the Death Eater's win curse, of a cadaver, whatever you can say it,
Avada
is
Kedavra.
probably only one. So if
I
that
don't
one
know.
gets bent,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a ton of them. I didn't see another one like that.
Dude, I kept drawing so many curses.
But I like that. I really enjoyed that. Like the encounters weren't just like, oh, get 3 dice or get 7 dice. Like some of them felt really hard.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh well,
The objectives were diversified.
they were because there was one that I thought was really interesting. Was we had to have like 4 people contribute, and you had to draw
2 random ones.
2 random ones, and you needed them to be like a specific item.
Yeah, a curse,
Yep.
a crystal ball or something.
Yeah,
like
crystal
that.
ball or a butterbeer, whatever. And it's like, oh, like what a cool way to try to, you know, like you could tank that one. Like that'd be easy. Or if you wanted to prove your loyalty, which it didn't work, you throw exactly what they need in there because, hey, I'm a good
We still don't
guy.
trust you.
Hello there, fellow students.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my problem. But no, I think this is really solid. It's very easy. It's not my favorite one. It wouldn't be necessarily my go-to. I'm fine with Harry Potter stuff, whatever. Can kind of take it or leave it. But I've read all the books, you know, back when they came out, which makes
There
me
are
old.
books? Are they based on the movies?
Yeah, there
they
were books based on the
movies.
Okay, cool.
books based on the
I don't know you, man.
What are books? But yeah.
Those
They're
audio
trophies
things?
of audiobooks that I put on my shelf.
Yeah.
Hi, listen to this.
That's right.
Okay, guys, so we should give this a rating. Daniel,
Me.
how does that work, sir?
Oh boy. So we're each gonna give it a rating from technically 0 to 10. We're gonna average them all together because like Board Game Geek and Discord just needs one score that we can say, hey, Board Game Rundown thought it was this. But also we all have opinions and people agree with different people, and that's absolutely fine if you're wrong. Continue.
Ooh,
It's like your opinion.
man. All right, Spencer.
Oh, I'm just going to give it a one right away. I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Okay. Daniel.
I was right around there. I think I'm going to go with 7. And that might, again, just be the theme. I just don't care about Harry Potter that much. It
Sure.
was done well here, but I just don't care that much. But it's
There's
a good
no,
game.
There's not a 2-note theme song that you can play with it.
Yeah,
Dun,
no,
dun.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Bobbing.
That would be a great game.
Yeah. I'm going to go with a 7.5 too. I think I do prefer this over the thing because it is a little more streamlined. I feel like the board and the having to go to different locations can slow it down unnecessarily, but you still get the same kind of deduction out of this.
Yeah, you guys have all been saying that, and I totally agree that the thing isn't a weird middle ground. Again, I like the thing a lot. Like, I know Tim does and stuff, but it does feel like it's in this weird middle ground, and I almost feel like the opposite. I wish it was deeper. Like, because
Sure.
if you're going to have all the board there and the movement and all this,
There should be more to
there
it
should be
then.
more
Yeah.
to it.
Right.
And so I wish it was a slightly more complicated game. So it's true that this takes it and kind of brings it down, and it feels more at home in this package.
little more
You want something
refined
to take
and-
that and make it bigger.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a 7 for me. I think this is really solid. I think that, and this game again is going to bring people into the hobby, which is always a good thing.
Yeah.
Because and I think it's going to give people that try it out a good experience, especially if they are curious about social deduction or they like the Harry Potter theme. I think you'll be fine here. I think you'll do just fine.
So if you take our scores and you average them together, it's a 7.3.
Pretty good.
Hey, not
Yeah.
too bad. Not too
bad.
bad. So let us know what wand you would want in the comments if you were wand savvy like Bobby over here.
And I mean, if you're just collecting Harry Potter games, it's a good one.
It's a good one. Yeah,
Yep.
play it. Like, don't just leave it on your shelf. Because,
Yeah.
like, actually play this one. It's worth your time. If you found this video useful, please consider liking, subscribing, doing all the things. We have a very active and super fun Discord channel. We have live streams. We have giveaways. We do all kinds of things like that. If you would like to support the show financially, we do have a Patreon, which we would be happy if you wanted to contribute to. But if that's not really your jam, that's also fine. Give us a thumbs up, thumbs down. Like I said, comment on the video. What's your favorite social deduction game? Who has your favorite wand? What kind of feather is in there, right? Is it
Are
always
you a Death
feather?
Eater?
What's in the? Is it always a feather?
It's
or
not
something?
always. It's
a hair.
a wood
It could be
and
a
hair. Yeah,
I
or
thought it was
something.
like a dragon heartstring or something like that.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, okay. So there we go. Dan, what's your favorite thing in a wand?
Ooh. I don't think we should go there, Tim.
Yeah, it's a family show, Tim.
Joke!
For the board game rundown, I've been Tim.
Bob.
Spencer.
Dan.
Thanks for watching.